What am I going to tell my husband when he returns next week? That I want to go to university this fall? Or about everything else? Besides, he deludes himself into thinking that all is fine. A fine daughter and a fine son, a talented and lovely wife, a golden life in the United States, earning more money than all his brothers and sisters together. And you know, maybe that is all that he dreamt for.
But those are not your dreams.
I don't want to be selfish. Not when my cousins long for what little I have here.
Don't be noble, you didn't ask for this.
No, I took on burdens. And I fully kept my obligations. But they kept growing. It wasn't supposed to last more than a few years, just helping a friend of the family come over. But lovely little Annika came along too. I dropped out of graduate school. Ishan and I moved from Baltimore to here before she was born, because we had a lock on 2 immediate jobs to support a new family. Children are not a magic cure for a troubled relationship. And, well, we are still here and nothing has changed after 14 years. It's 6 more years until my son AA Rush graduates, and then freedom. Freedom.
That's a long time.
When you're my age, years evaporate all too quickly. And there's a world of difference about starting over in your 40s, rather than 30s. It could be worse, though.
How do you stand it?
My mom told me that growing up is about putting your own interests aside to bear those of others. But I am just plain weary. He's not a bad man, but he's nothing more than a business partner in this Chowdhury family, Incorporated. I still have my outlets, like French cooking and helping out with the Jackpine Grove. And he doesn't like that, you know. Every hour with you is another hour that he has to take care of himself or the kids.
You don't spend that much time with us.
Yeah, like 10 hours a month is a hardship. You see, when love is thin, faults are thick, and people bicker about even the little things. Time, money, and attention are the big things in marriage. He can't stand the idea that I have a rudimentary life of my own. But I want more. But I don't dare, yet. We're both too damn principled to do some rash, selfish thing that will pull the plug. So we always somehow opt to get along. We continue.
But
life could be so much more. Yeah, Sarah, it nags at me, one cold night after another. Oh, I'm sorry I even tried to give you advice. Look what a silly mess my life has turned into.
Andrea, that's not true. Stop that. Why not send him packing, if you know it is over?
And do what? How could I raise them myself? High school is bad enough in this cookie-cutter, white bread town, much less to put them through a divorce. Especially now that Annika...
What's wrong with Annika?
She told me last night. She's coming out of the closet.
Dear dude, God's bless you, Craig. I'm back.
Fail Chaw, Peter. How went the light reading?
Light? What can I say? I finished those 3 books and skimmed some of the others too. About 900 pages for 1500 years of prehistorical Western European culture, archaeology and guesswork. I had no idea that the Celts had done so much, ranged so far, and lived in such odd ways: the art, the customs, the religious practices, hierarchies, war, economics. It was a whole world that I didn't know about.
That's what I wanted to hear. So many of my fellow Druids just focus on the Druid as the magician's role and forget that they played a role in a larger culture, that they were products of their age, as much as they sought to mold and guide their people. Whatever powers, lore or wisdom they possessed also had a responsibility and purpose, not simply the highly individualized spiritual search that the Reformed Druids usually focus on.
If that is so, why do you suppose the founders settled upon the Druids for their rebellious model?
Oh gods! Where would I be if they picked another culture, such as Egyptians or Voodoo? Imagine that? One of the reasons that the Celts were chosen by the founders was that they represented an alternative to what we inevitably consider as Western culture, derived from Roman and Greek centralized states, and the dualistic monotheism from the Middle Eastern mythos. The Celts symbolized an approachable world, a possibility dissimilar enough to our sensibilities to provoke and intrigue us, but close enough to not seem alien. A once great civilization that was relentlessly chipped away, isolated and painted into a corner by more successful, powerful forces. All that romanticism was appealing in the 1960s, when little was known about ancient Druids. They were concerned their opponents would pick apart their practices for inaccuracies, and there are a few. Their defense would be to point to the upfront choice of the term Reformed in their name. A clever stratagem for a temporary conflict. But the search is really a never-ending struggle.
So, now that I know so much about the ancient Celts, it should help me to delve into Reformed Druidism.
Oh, no.
No? What do you mean, no?
It pains me to say this, but the Reformed Druids are on average the least Celtically influenced group of all the modern Druids. While the founders pretended tongue-in-cheek early on to have a vague ancient connection, after a few months this pretense was dropped, and they made a revolutionary statement that they had spun it all up on their own. Think about that. None of the European and fraternal Druid groups before them had had this courage and honesty. The desire to link back into the murky past is a powerful validating tool, whether for big or small groups.
So most Reformed Druids don't know much about the Celts.
Sure, they all know a bit. At least a Wikipedia check. But even with the unprecedented availability of academic information on the internet nowadays, I can confidently say that you probably know more about the Celts now than 90% of the rest of the Reform members, past and present. Every bone in my body regrets that they didn't go further, that we don't go further here, but so it is, although I hope to enlighten those I can reach, but one can only hurt cats so far, I know that. Sadly, there are a lack of alternatives here, and yes, my heart is still bound and enthralled to lovely Sarah. As a result, when I leave Ypsalantu University next summer, I will no longer choose to be in an RDNA grove, but will gravitate to either ADF or more hardcore Celtic reconstructionist groups.
Really?
Or maybe I'll continue my grand plans here.
What? I couldn't hear that.
Nothing. You still seem surprised?
Billy, your daughter is gay?
I should have put it all together before. Guess I didn't want to see it. She's serious that boys are not on the top of her list. She is not just trying to shock me. We were in tears about it all last night.
What did you do?
What else could I do? I held her close and kissed her and told her it was going to be all right. We would work it out together.
That's probably what she needed to hear. And what did Ishan say?
We're not going to tell you, Sean, yet. I know him all too well. He's not a hateful man, but his initial reactions would be a bit harsh. It's just the way he was raised. And he's never reevaluated that subject on his own. I need to find the right moment, and we have enough on our plate already.
So you must have been up all night with her? You look so tired.
Yeah. It was painful, but so sweet, to let it all out. You know, if I hadn't hung out with you folks in Jackpine so long, I probably would not have handled it so well. I'm so confused, but knowing Jodie and Thomas all these years gave me some framework of normalcy to hang it upon. But I have questions. Unspoken fears, my head is spinning. But I don't know where to go from here.
Perhaps you'd better talk about it with Jodie. I'd do so quickly, get a few starting points, and then follow your instincts. After all, you've always been so great at finding resources for our Grove members whenever they run into trouble on something, and putting things into plain talk. It'll become clearer.
Sarah, thank you. I just worry about Annika so very much.
Of course. Not to downplay Annika's crisis, but remember, with you as preceptor of the Grove, and Jodie as Archdruidess, you also both have to quickly hammer out a lot of planning for the new academic year.
Oh, yeah, passing on the torch. It has got to be done. Jodie's still in town, but I think she'll leave mid-September. I'll ask her. There's all the recruitment of new students, first services, the election of officers, and those blasted zombie ghost public hearings.
I can't believe we didn't take care of all that back in May.
Too much going on, with all the campus club registration. And with the weather being abysmal, hardly any services to meet with folks. After these long winters in Michigan, there are really only 4 or 5 weeks for outdoor activity before the end of the regular academic year. Besides, Craig organized all those long Celtic lectures that ate up all our time for other organizational meetings. I do hope Peter has not been frightened off by Craig's pedantics. He does go on and on.